Welcome to Legends of Grayskull, the podcast that dives deep into the mythology of Masters of the Universe, with your hosts Matthew Dooch and Shawn Scavana. News, reviews, remasterings and more are just ahead on Legends of Grayskull.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 99 and 3/4? Yeah, we'll do that. Of Legends of Grayskull, the fan podcast where we discuss the history, the mystery, the magic, and mythology of He-Man, She-Ra, Eternia, Etheria, Nordor, Primus, new adventures, old adventures, Ladybird, UK, annuals, mini comics, anything and everything you can think of with that He-Man, She-Ra, Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power! That Mattel logo down in the corner. I'm Matthew Dooch. Here again with Shawn Scavana. Shawn, how are we doing today?
It went slow. But anyway, it caught up to you. Now my echo on. I'm turning it down. I was just trying it out. I have new goodies, and I'm happy to play with them for this episode finally.
I like it.
Oh, boy.
Shawn's got the pro mic.
We're working on this. We said
million podcasts now. No.
I'm happy to be invited is all, but no, I subbed in for Skelevator when he was sick recently, and they're like, "Hey, join us," and I'm like, "Oh, I thought I was fired." It's kind of like when we started ours. I'm like, "You want me back? You want an episode 2? Okay, let's try it again. Let's see if it keeps going." So yeah,
and here we are. Nearly 100 episodes. Nearly. Again, folks.
We just won't officially call it.
We are not at episode 100. 99 and 3/4.
Yeah.
We got big plans for episode 100. The problem is, man, Masters is just churning lately.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this before, but it's just, we can't wait till episode 100, and we're going to do it proper. We got big plans. But yeah, we have to cover some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, I don't want episode 100 to just be the news and the recent stuff. Like, episode 100 is going to transcend all of that. So,
So knock it off. Quit putting new stuff out there so we can have a 100th episode. For the love of God.
Just give us a breather. Come on, Mattel. So what you been up to? Anything exciting? Good pickups? Anything?
No pick. I'll air my grievances really quickly because you know them, but I want to share it on here because it's been driving me crazy. So I bought something on eBay, and it was sent out a week ago Monday. And
is this Masters item?
It's Mythic Legions instead of Masters.
Well, then you're on the wrong podcast, Shawn.
I'm on the wrong podcast.
You got 50 billion other podcasts.
Steve,
but we're going to talk Mythics here.
They're really weird about that for some reason. No, but that was supposed to be something that would come in, and last Wednesday it was supposed to be here. It is literally a week today that it should have arrived. And my tracking keeps saying awaiting delivery scan. And I don't know what the heck is going on, but that is where I am with anything new. I am awaiting a delivery scan.
So it got onto a truck.
Apparently.
In parts unknown, wherever you live.
Yes.
Shawn doesn't even tell me where he lives. He's very private.
There's sunshine where I live, at least. I got that going for me today.
Well, that narrows it down a lot because we've had snow and rain. That's about it. So it's sitting somewhere on a truck. It made it to your local PO.
Yep.
And now you just have to wait.
I gotta wait, apparently. And I was looking up stuff last night, and the places that I was looking up, they're like, that at least shows that it's within the network. Like they have it in their possession somehow. Yeah. And so I can't give up hope. But after a freaking week of knowing it was literally probably near my doorstep last Wednesday, and nothing has happened since then. And I've gone to the post office and bugged them twice, and each time it's, well, we can't do anything until 10 days after. And I'm like,
all right,
really?
Days.
I love it.
Get an update on 99 and
99.666 whatever. So that's other than that, the only other pickup is something we're going to talk about today. So,
all right, yeah, and at least
how about you?
You know, it's not as bad as when it shows Departed New York, and then it just never gets another scan where it could literally be anywhere in the country.
Yeah,
like at least it was there. And it's on one of their trucks somewhere. I remember one time back in the days, well, they're still around, but Redbox.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But back when video stores were still a thing, streaming was nothing. And I remember I was reaching for something fell like in between the seats. And I reached down in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I pull it out, but I feel something else. And I remember reaching back down in and pulling out a Redbox DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And being like, when did I rent this? And that thing ended up costing me like $15 because it was like 2 weeks. Like I knew it wasn't recent.
Yeah.
You know, I pulled out, I'm like, we haven't rented this recently. So, Redbox, they don't officially charge until you return it. Like they do the one night, but then any of the additionals. So it's like I had to go return it, and then that hit, and I'm like, we could have darn near bought that DVD.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Good times. So I'm assuming that's what happened with your package is like it rolled under the seat, and eventually the guy's going to clean out his truck and be like, oh, look at that.
I'll tell you what, I would like that to be the case, but I'd like it to be the case like today. And that's, I have never, ever bought something and had it shipped to me, and I'm waiting this long through my post office. Like this is the very first time this has ever happened. And I've been buying stuff like collecting wise. I've been buying stuff for 7 years this year.
Right.
And never has this kind of thing happen. And the thing that bugs me the most is this is a figure that while not complete, it will complete a figure I have. Therefore, it's not like these are pieces that I'm going to come by easily because the figure I'm trying to complete is one of the very first waves of Mythic Legions.
Right.
And, like for me to try to get that piece, the pieces I'm looking for, and granted, they're not pieces that, like, Jesse's already helped me a little bit with completing the figure, but there was that part of me that kept itching at the back of my mind. But you still don't have that piece, even though he did that for you. I'm weird. My OCD kicks in a little bit too much. And I saw a way of doing it, but I'm still going to display it with Jesse's work because I really like what he did. I just want it in my weapons catalog, and all that stuff. But that's what I get for doing that, I guess. That's like, maybe Jesse took it. And he's like, no, you're going to keep what I had, and that's the end of this. Because he's not that guy, though. So, no. I don't know. But, yeah,
we're all rooting for you.
That's what my wife says when she leaves for work. We're all rooting for you. Go hit some more deadlines so we can keep the house another month. So yeah,
we do like keeping houses. Well, I had a fun trip this past Saturday. I got to go up to MuskeCon.
Yeah. MuskeCon.
That earworm just gets stuck in your head.
I won't do it because I won't even give it remotely the amount of talent that Jeremy DeWitt had. So believe me.
But no, it was a fun show, a local show. I still feel it's local, up in Muskegon, Michigan, and got to see a lot of great people. Jeremy DeWitt, Steve Bisciotti, Motu Joe. I got this shirt from Retro Rags that Motu Joe and Russ run. I did get to meet Russ as well. Joe Crazy Bill. Too many, honestly. I mean, there were just so many people that I met or got to catch up with. Old Man Kyle, Ben Talmadge, they were all there. Jason Boonstra. Oh, he's a crazy man. Probably the most fun. Yeah, I'll go fun. Meet up there. And luckily he came up to me because he doesn't use an actual profile picture on Facebook, is J Mac, who has been a long time supporter of our show. And we got to geek out for a few minutes there. I got to see what he looks like. He doesn't look like Roboto, despite his profile picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Jay, it was great meeting you, and it was fun getting recognized. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I had quite a few people who were just come up to me, hey, the douche, all that. So it was a fun show. But J Mac's a good guy. He was there with his son. I saw some other pictures he posted. It looks like he had a great time. But lots of fun. So I picked up the shirt. I didn't pick up too much. Most of the time I was just chatting. But I did get my single carded Praetorian, Uwit, and Pelvicus Lord Busciati. So I can display all four now. I did. No, the Prince. I did finally get to pick up this print, which was actually Nate Barch's PowerCon exclusive print that Jesse was kind enough to get for me. He gave it to Rodriguez, and this was the first time me and Rodriguez had a chance to hook up. So got that from Rodriguez. And then from Jeremy, I got prints of his Masters of the Universe Power, his Thundercats, Roar knockoff. I love it. The trolling he did with that one.
I remember, didn't he do that and it went viral because people were scared?
He actually posted it like, hey, coming soon. And everyone was like, no. Yeah. And that's why I like it. I like it because of the trolling factor. Like I do not want to see this show.
No.
But as a Jeremy DeWitt print, hell yeah. Sign me up.
Agreed.
And then I also got from Jeremy his Beastie Kong print for our audio listeners. That's Donkey Kong colored as Beastman, and he actually did a lot of background work too, where it's like He-Man going up the ladders with Tila, captured, and hover robots rolling like barrels and everything.
Nice.
So yeah, some great stuff there by Jeremy. And then of course I did get to see Matt Rodriguez, and he gave me an awesome Defenders of Eden print.
Nice.
And then I also picked up issue 3 of Defenders of Eden from him, which I forgot to kickstart, apparently. And I didn't realize it until they'd already shipped. So my Defenders of Eden collection is complete again.
Yeah, I want to say I might have missed that one too, because that was when things were not kosher here financially. So I was like, well, I got, unfortunately I wanted to support it, but sometimes it's inescapable, unavoidable.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of, I don't remember when it was, but it must have just flown under the radar. Like that. Like I remember promoting it myself. Like I was like, hey guys, but then I never actually went in and did it. But we also had that discussion, All Stars 5 for Mythic Legions is starting to ship direct, and the retailers are April 1st for their street date. And I went around and looked, and I realized I don't have any of them on pre-order. Like, same thing. I'm just like, I remember I couldn't get them directly from the Horsemen, but I could have sworn I pre-ordered from somewhere, but I've checked every site that I've ever pre-ordered from, and I don't have any. So, again, it just kind of slipped under the radar, and I forgot about it. And luckily I realized before the actual street date and stuff starts selling out. Real quick here, I do want to play. Me and Matt, we spent a ton of time with Matt at the show. After the show, I drove him home afterwards, and I'll just leave it up to the audience imagination how all that went. But it was a good night. His wife Rachel was there as well, Toy Huntress, slinging around some ideas. He'll ignore all of my ideas, or he'll come back in 6 months and say what a great idea he had. Classic Rodriguez. But while we were there, we filmed a nice promotional video for his Armies of Ashmore line. So, enjoy.
Defenders of Eden! Yeah!
Where's our theme song?
Where is our theme song?
Legends of Grayskull! It's Legends of Grayskull!
Defenders of Eden!
Why don't you listen right now?
So real quick, Shawn, I don't want to divert the whole episode, and obviously we're going to really dig in with Matt about this toy line, but where are you at on this? Just kind of at the process right
now. I don't personally want all of them, unfortunately, but there are definitely ones I want.
Blasphemy.
When here's the thing, and a lot of people don't know this. The figures are actually like, if you collect Mythic Legions, they're brute scale figures. Right. So they're bigger. They're like 9-inch figures. And I think he said that the other one was like a 12-inch almost with the neck.
Yep. And I had it in that video. I got Mythic Legions there and classics and everything. I mean, they tower.
Yeah.
Above all those figures.
I mean, these are big guys, and if I remember right, the price point's somewhere around like 60 or 65 a figure.
Yep.
We'll see what happens, because he is going to be launching the Kickstarter next month. But
April 25th.
25th.
He just announced after Tulip City.
Yeah, he just announced it. I want to say yesterday or today. I really want those Triceratops ones. Yep, those are my must-haves, and then if I get anything else, that's just gravy at that point. Which I hate saying that, but that's the only word that came to my head right then. But those two in particular really, really wow me, and the other ones are still great. But I just like Triceratops dinosaurs for the most part, and those really speak to me the most. So when I support the Kickstarter, those will be the ones I'm gunning at. And then I know he said about like, if you get them all, there's discounts and stuff like that. So check out the Kickstarter when it starts. We'll promote it on our page, on the Facebook page. And I'm sure we'll have him on to talk about it during this campaign because, he's a friend of the show and everything.
And
but yeah.
I'll throw it out there now. If you are in the area, Tulip City Comic and Toy Fair is April 23rd, right up in Holland, Michigan. That is Matt Rodriguez's own show.
Mm-hmm.
And he has said, though that's the last show he's going to take these Paint Masters to. So if you want to take a look at these prototype Paint Masters and you're in the area, make sure you hit up that show. And then he'll have all the information for the Kickstarter because it hits the Monday after the con. So it'll roll right in. And he said after that, these guys are just going in well, he said in a case. So I'm hoping it's my cases. But, you know, we're still discussing that.
Yeah, working
but
out
yeah,
the kinks and
I mean,
stuff.
and you can already see, you know, no knock against them, just like it is what they are. Like, there is some, I mean, they're held together by blue tack.
Yep.
You know, and they're not meant to be pulled out all the time. They're proof of sculpting, proof of paint, you know, that's what they're for.
Yeah.
They are extremely fragile pieces. But he let me help take them apart. It was a lot of fun. I got to drop some more pictures because I took a ton of them, especially when he let me start taking them apart because I was able to get some nice close-ups of like the tails and stuff like that. So, but yeah, make sure you're following all that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think he'll have no problem getting this funded.
No, he's gotten a lot of good word of mouth out there
For sure.
in general. And I mean, it also doesn't hurt. The Four Horsemen are the geniuses behind helping him to create this toy line.
Yep, they sculpted them. They hooked them up with their factory.
Yeah, all of it. All the bells and whistles that they can give their lines, he will be getting in his line because they're helping him out. And so that was another thing. The minute he said that the Horsemen were involved, I'm like, take my money because I know the quality, I know the product that they produce, and I've been a fan since 2000X. So absolutely.
Yep. And you've been in on Defenders of Eden since the Kickstarter. So.
Yeah, I have the I don't think I have the third issue, but I have the first two issues because I missed the third Kickstarter. Right. But yeah, and it really is, if you're a Masters fan, look it up, check it out. It's a fun read. You can completely see his love for Masters coming through in that book, through the story and the designs and everything. And he also has people in the Masters community from like the back in the org days and everything too. They're helping him with the book as well, and colors and art. So.
And like I told J-Mac, I think he did end up picking up the set because he had the books for sale there. I told him, I said, any Masters fan is going to love Defenders of Eden. And a lot of those characters were created as fan-made Motu characters back in the org days that Matt bought the rights to and is now using them here. And so it's, for me, for being an old org guy from the message boards, it's like, oh, I remember that creation and that, you know, so it's a great testament to the fandom and the fans and the property, and it's great.
And one other quick thing too is this Kickstarter he's about to do with the toys. This is your gateway drug into more toys based on that book.
Right.
So if you get the book, you're going to see the future of the toy line right in front of you on the pages. And the cool thing is, it's not all dinosaurs. We're talking, there's good guys, there's bad guys, there's tech guys, there's sorcery people, you know, all this stuff. And it's like, if you start with this, you are going to see some of these things down the road, which is really cool. Because it really does feel, if you're missing something in your life with your collection, this might fill that need because it does have that Masters sidestep sort of a vibe to it, which is really cool.
Yeah, and he was actually warning guys about that at the con. He was like, the guys that were buying the books, he's like, hey, just so you know, this is just one small aspect of the overall Defenders of Eden story.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a way for him to get this line started, do 5 guys with shared tooling as far as the major body parts, and then he'll be able to expand as the line goes on. Because it's not all dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
Lots of fun stuff to explore. The one I probably should have led with this. Right when I got to MuskeCon, Van Dyke Mortgage Convention Center, downtown Muskegon, right across from Dr. Rolf's Barbecue, which was amazing. Everybody should go there and get the platter of meat. Awesome. But I go in, and it's a 2.5 hour drive. So, of course, me being an old man, first thing I do, walk in, need a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I head in, and of course, first people I see in the bathroom, Mr. Jeremy DeWitt and Mr. Pete McCarthy. Well, I guess we should have said Pete runs MuskeCon. This is his show. Pete McCarthy, also a host of My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me. So they're both there. Hug them, what's up, secret handshake. And I go to do my thing. And of course, as soon as I go to do my thing at the stall, the urinal, of course, Mr. Pete McCarthy does the only thing anyone can do. And he comes up behind me and starts humping me. So I'm like, this has been a great experience. I might as well go now because nothing's going to top this. I started it off right, and I ended it right. So,
the first Legions Con Jesse and I went to, we were trying to get a picture. It was me and Jesse with Steve trying to get a picture, sure. And Pete was right there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll take a picture," and he just starts clicking away, and we're all like, "Did you get the picture?" And he goes, "What? No, I've been taking selfies." And I get my phone back, and there's all these photos of him just making random faces. And I'm like, well, at least there's one photo of me with Steve, but there's all these photos of Pete all over my phone.
I love it. That's the kind of guy he is.
Yes.
He put on an amazing show. I loved it. They were good. There was concessions. It was packed. I mean, just wave after wave of people. So really good show. Can't recommend it enough. And then we ended the whole night with drinks at a local bar or restaurant with pretty much everybody from that area, as well as Corn Boy and Jim from the Four Horsemen. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a good time, a very good time. And I think Curtis Ackerman might have been there.
He might have been there.
I don't know.
Such a wallflower. You never know when he's going to be there,
Yeah. I'm kidding, Curtis. I love you. So let's go ahead. Let's shake it up a little bit. And I also like to keep our spoiler material for the end. I think people have been liking that. So in a minute here, we'll go over issue number 2 of Masterverse. But before that, let's see. You put out a late.
Well, I did. Yeah, I did a late night one that didn't go anywhere on our Legendati group, which is fine.
Yeah, but then you did one like an hour ago.
I did one not too long ago on our regular one, and I think the look on my face scared people away. But anyway,
it's possible.
So,
but yeah, let's run through those, and then we'll get into the spoiler stuff.
Well, there isn't much, so we're gonna be fast and furious into the other stuff.
Let's do it.
So,
real quick, actually, that reminds me. We had tabled one of these questions from a previous episode. I think it was the Curtis. Actual 99. Was it Curtis?
Yeah.
Forget it then. We don't even have to
It
explain
was the one. It was the
No,
one about we're involved
yes.
with the toy line. What character do we create?
Right.
And then, unfortunately, because we're flying by the seat of our pants, neither one of us have gotten into that one yet.
Well, no,
either.
I was going to say, Curtis, we did not forget about it. That is going to be part of episode 100. So we took that question. That's going to be in episode 100. We're not to 100 yet. So we haven't gotten to the next episode yet. So, but we haven't forgotten. All right.
So, all right. Jay Gravatt.
Was that right?
Gravatt.
I thought it was Gravatt.
Gravatt. Okay, I'll go with Gravatt. Yeah, Gravatt. Sorry.
I don't know.
I did it again.
I say it different every time. Gravate?
No, I said gravate.
Gravate.
It sounds like something on like a Mexican dish, you know, like I want some gravate with a side of sour cream and guac, you know, or whatever.
All right, forget these guys. I'm not talking to them anymore.
It's amazing that he actually chimes in when he does, but he is quite good about that, and I give him credit for that all the time. So. He says, I'd like to hear both of your thoughts on the state of the franchise and where you'd like to see it go from here.
Ooh. I get it. There's a lot of doom and gloom, which makes no sense to me. For me, I think the franchise is the healthiest it's been in decades, honestly. I mean, we're literally 20 years from 2002, you know, and I mean, Origins, Masterverse, Mega Constructs, you know, you got all these statues, all this, the bus, like all this extra stuff, pops, and then you've got the Masterverse comic book. I mean, you've got 2 shows on Netflix, a movie allegedly. Like I think we're good for right now. Where I would like to see it go, get the movie out. Whatever you end up doing, animated, live action, I don't care. I have my preferences. But at this point, just do it. Get a movie out there and go from there. And then I would like to see an actual monthly comic book, something that's not an event or, you know, a crossover. Like let's just do. You're not even like Eternity War, which I still feel was very much a. Well, they even called it a maxi series at the time. Like, I just want a monthly book that's geared toward us longtime fans, you know, and stick to some classic mythology and go from there.
I'd have to agree that I think the brand itself, it's really gotten a lot more attention, and you know, it's more visible than it's been in decades. Other than, I mean, 2000X definitely gave it a shot, but they got the rug pulled out from under them too quickly, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, the amount of different things coming out, like you're saying, the busts, the statues, Mondo. I mean, I didn't mention Battle Cat was like one of the most talked about pieces of anything I've seen in quite a while. And then people were like, you know, hemming and hawing even last week or whatever when Trapjaw, the pre-order and that hit. And if we have stuff like that are coming out, and we have different people doing their own takes on this as well, because Tweeterhead is not Mondo is not Mattel, and all this. I feel like there is still health in the line for that reason, because there are people out there who want to see maybe a re-envisioned version of you know, like the Mondo's doing their take on that, and it's like, that's sweet. Oh my God, that's cool. Or if it doesn't work for you, hey, Tweeterhead's got some stuff going on over here, or you know, whatever. And with the different toy lines, CGI, Masterverse, and Origins and everything. I mean, yeah. I mean, even in the last week or two, I'm seeing an uptick on, at least on my Facebook feed, of people that are putting out classic stuff again.
Yep.
And that was kind of like, oh, okay, because I barely hear about it. The prices on these things, I know we've talked about it privately. The bottom fell out of that, unless you're talking about like Fisto or Scareglow still in those characters. But I mean, you know, even that line still is bringing people to all of this. And then we have the shows, we have the comic. I mean, comic one, you know, for right now. But I wouldn't mind seeing seeing a monthly, as long. I'm also one of those people where I want the creative team to be a good creative team.
Right.
So if they put out a comic, like if they got Eddie Nunez to do the interiors, I would eat it up every freaking month. If it was someone that I didn't know and I had to adjust to their aesthetics or whatever, that might be a little harder to sell. But yeah, the thing about the comic, not spoiling anything, but the thing about the comic for me is the comic is even showing different ways this could go.
Yep.
And I'm one of those people at this point where I know the chapter and verse of what we already grew up with. So expand that idea to me. Show me a version of it that is going to be something like CGI. I had no idea how the story was going to go, and it made me excited again to want to see those stories. So now, you know, if they could do a comic series where I don't know everything going into this, and here it is that each month I'm really excited to pick it up to see where it goes, that's a win as far as I'm.
Real quick, that's what I meant. I meant like rooted, like where we pick it up and we're like, yes, this is He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to see a new comic of Dragon Invasion and Curse of the Spellstone. Like, same thing. I want take it into a new way, but just don't look at it as having to be an end of the universe way, or you know what I mean? Like, let's just have some adventures with He-Man in a more classic mythology.
Well, that is the beauty of. I feel weird championing this book, but that is the beauty of this the Masterverse comic right now. For me, is it's the baseline is what we know, but then the branching out of the variables and the potential.
Exactly.
And it's like I'd almost be interested in them exploring some of these vignette stories they're doing as a 3 or 5 issue series. And getting into some of these worlds, because some of them actually deserve to be gone back to and really given the rules, the mythology of that world. Like issue 1 in particular, the darker story, the one of Castle, he becomes Grayskull instead of He-Man. That's a story where I'm like, there's a lot going on there that I would want to come back and reread this. Is it by He-Man? No. But it's a cool concept. Exactly. And, you know, it's like I would be in if they did some of these as, you know, mini series, but I would also really want to see, here's a traditional He-Man comic book, and just run with it for a year or two and build up the mythology. Do a 2000X story where it does build on itself, but you can have those issues where you take a step out of the main story and have, you know, a one-off issue or whatever too.
Agreed. Any other questions?
I guess to round this up, because I actually my thing will kick in a second here anyway for my kids. All right, Jesse Arnold.
Okay.
Motu figures are generally beefcakes, he says in quotes. Beefcakes.
I do love
beefcakes. Does this mean, huh?
I love beefcakes.
He loves beefcakes. Does this mean they are cakes made of beef, or are they beef-shaped cakes? I've not slept a wink since this thought has entered my mind.
I always took it to mean they are cakes made of beef. Like they look really good, you know. And then when you dig into them, they're just pure meat. Like they're, you know, they're pure muscle. So
I'll take
that's the
that.
way
That'll
I've
be my
always thought of
answer
it.
too. That's a great answer. I'm good with that. I just want to do that. Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Jesse, for the wonderful and insightful question. All right, guys. Thanks for all those wonderful questions. We appreciate it. But now, this time, I got the physical copy this week.
You got the physical copy. I'm still on Comixology with mine. So,
And there was only one copy left of number 2 after I took this one. So I don't know what quantity these guys are ordering, but whatever they're ordering, they're selling. So that is definitely a good sign. So issue number 2 picks up right where we left off with the wraparound, you know, Zodak, Sorceress. We get to see a few alternate Zodaks. We see Strobo. We see the Zodak. I pronounced it with a K there. From 2000X. And then a female Cosmic Enforcer. That was a fun little thing. I actually prefer this way than like Zodak and Zodak being in the same universe, you know? It just
I'm fine with that. And you've already schooled me on that. I think it was like an episode or 2 back where they aren't the same character anyway because their skill sets are not the same. He is not a Cosmic Enforcer in 2000X. He's more of like a mystic warrior.
Well, he's there.
Yeah.
Cosmic Enforcer, but he's not.
He's like in the Himalayas,
Yep.
you know, having his mantras and zoning out and, you know, all that. I'm sure he's into incense and stuff. But, you know, compared to, you know, chair-sitting Metron-esque Zodak the way that we knew him for all these years. Yeah.
No, completely agree. So we've got, I should have started with the credits. So we got the framing story. Script is all by Tim Seeley.
Yep.
In the framing story, we had the art by Eddie Nunez, color art by Rico Renzi, and letters by Daron Bennett. The first story, East of Eternos. Art by E.J. Sue, color art by Michael Wiggum, and letters by Daron Bennett. And then the second story is Man-at-Arms for Hire, with art by Victor Santos, and letters by Daron Bennett. They don't list a colorist there. Weird. Your standard cover is Eddie Nunez with Rico Renzi. Variant cover B, E.J. Sue, and variant cover C, Victor Santos. So, East of Eternos. I felt that this was a very simple story, but it also set up a lot of potential. So, basically, the story is that Prince Adam is a general in the army of Eternos, and can't talk today. King Randor rules still. His uncle Keldor is the Grand Vizier, and they're chasing the legend of the Power Sword. So he sends Adam on this mission along with Man-at-Arms and a captured foreigner who we know as Jitsu. He says he's from Gritori, which is a hermit nation. And they're looking for the Isle of Grayskull and the power that lies within.
Yeah, and the story is pretty straightforward. It doesn't really.
No.
It doesn't really. It's not like the Grayskull Man one, where all of a sudden it's like, what? By the horror of Grayskull, and then boom, you go into this like, oh, okay. Now, this one's just like, here's point A, here's point B, we get there, and
Yep.
I'd say the only thing that's a curveball for anybody, if you aren't in the know about it, the new Eternia Jitsu
Yep.
has this in his bio. He is not in League with Skeletor, so in this one, it's Adam working with him, and they did do a pretty good job of doing the whole idea of. It almost made me feel like the way that the Marvel universe sees Wakanda. I think like Eternos and everything is insular, and they weren't welcoming to a foreigner coming in there and trying. He talks about, I learned about your culture, and I learned about how to salute and how to do, the languages you use and this and that, and I was not welcome with open arms and all this stuff. And I do like how this could have been a really interesting story fleshed out even in that part of it to me.
Yeah.
They gave enough to let you know Adam wasn't happy with the way that Jitsu was explaining his experience where he is, because I don't think Adam wants to be insular. He strikes me as, whatever my dad is saying, maybe this isn't the best way to go. He's got that vibe about him, but they don't really get into that. It's such a quick journey kind of a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get attacked by a sea serpent, and Jitsu thinks that Adam's going to leave him there to die, but he actually ends up saving him.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the vibe is... I actually was reminded of kind of the Texera era of mini comics. Because it's kind of like where there is an established Eternos with a king, but like outside of there, Randor doesn't rule Eternia. He rules Eternos. And everything outside of that is, like you said, it's either we're wary of that or they're outright enemies.
Yeah.
And Jitsu's got the street rat backstory where he's like, I've worked my whole life to leave Gratori, and I wanted to visit Eternos. I learned your language and all this, your customs. But he was turned away and shunned, and he stole a single apple from the marketplace, and he was sentenced to prison in Point Dread.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's about the only thing. I'm like, we're laying it on pretty thick there. Like,
well,
I knew from the new Eternia bio that it's like a thief, but he's not. But it's more of a gray area. But I'm like, really, we went with a single apple. Like, he couldn't have even been like a Robin Hood character where he's actually doing something like big, or a Catwoman type character where like he's not evil, but he's like always looking out for himself, and he stole a bunch of treasure. Like, we couldn't give him something big. We had to go with the literal single apple.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
that was the only part where I'm just like, we're really laying this on thick.
The whole Grand Vizier thing that they set Keldor up with in this, I feel like that kind of, I'm not saying it excuses it, but I feel like the way that they made that look, they have this look every time you see Randor, where it looks like he's under a spell. So I'm inferring this. I'm not saying that's what happened, but there is this vibe because you always see Keldor whispering in Randor's ear, and then Randor will be the mouthpiece of whatever Keldor's saying each time they visit him in the story. And I think there is this, Keldor is governing Eternos, and Randor is a puppet for him and it's that whole thing. So it's like, the old idea of somebody going against the law, well, they're going to get the maximum penalty, even if they just stole an apple and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is a weird way to do it because I agree. If they're gonna say he's a thief, or if they're gonna say that he's this or that, play it up to make it that he's like a lovable rogue then, instead of it being, oh, I'm stealing apples because I'm freaking hungry. It's like,
right.
Okay, well, that doesn't add to your story in a heroic way. It adds to it in a very like, well, that sucks. Like, that's a horrible day. I'm sorry, dude. You want a burger? I'll get you one, or whatever.
Right. But yeah, so they find the Isle of Grayskull, where basically the entire Castle Grayskull is like its own island, which was a really cool design.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam enters this cavern to claim the Power Sword. And we go back to the Royal Palace, and they're promoting Tila up to the Man-at-Arms, since he was, dead, apparently, because he was on the boat with Adam.
Yeah.
And we don't see him again. He doesn't pop back up at the end. Like, Jitsu and Adam are the only survivors, so real stakes. I'll give them that.
Yeah, real stakes.
And then we see, this is where we see what the Kelda-Randa relationship really is, where, like you said, it's the Jafar Sultan, thing, where he's basically controlling him. He's his puppet. And Adam, now as He-Man, shows up along with Jitsu and takes down Keldor.
Yeah, which, again, this story ends in a way where it was just getting good.
Right.
And we end it on the moment where it's like, this would be the equivalent of, for anyone who enjoyed Revelation, like He-Man just turned him, or Adam turned him and Cringer into Battle Cat, and we got Skelegod over here. And then they just credits right after that. You're like,
right. Well, I think the whole thing, like I said, like it could have been interesting to play it out. Like this could have been a 3-issue story.
Absolutely.
You play out the puppet. Is Keldor controlling Randor? Like what's really going on here? Even like you said, Adam in this is really interesting because he is a general in his father's army. You don't have any of the Adam, you're going to be a disappointment. You got to rule someday. Like, no, he's actually worked his way up, and Randor, entrusts him with this. Well, does he? Because really, Keldor is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
So you almost got to imagine that Keldor was like, well, this is a way, because Adam is competent. He is gaining the trust of the army. He's his father. Like, he's going to be king. And, Keldor is sitting there going, ooh, I can make him chase this fairy tale and get him out of the way.
Yeah.
And that's all stuff that you infer. Like, there's great story threads in here. This is one that definitely I could see played out. And then with, I kind of mentioned Robin Hood earlier, or even you go the Aladdin story, like there is a little bit of that, like, coming back a changed man in this story.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, he found the Isle. They even say, let me get the exact quote. I think it was a page back. Yeah. In the far reaches, the king believed I would find a great artifact of untold power. What I found there instead was a trial, a test of my true nature. It's like, so there's a whole thing too, where like he went through this trial on the Isle of Grayskull, which allowed him to become He-Man, but also showed him the right way. Like, this is not the way we should go. And he says when he, dethrones Keldor, he's like, Eternals will not conquer anymore. Because that's what they were doing. They were just going and conquering all the nations. So it's like, there's all this stuff in here. This jam-packed 12-page story where it's like, man, you could have taken any of these threads and really played with them.
Absolutely. And I mean, the other thing too, like last night, there were some people talking about it in a group chat, and they were also complaining that the designs even in this, because they're supposed, like we there is the battle armor Masterverse He-Man. There's also New Eternia Jitsu out and all that stuff.
Yep.
And the designs of these in the book are better in their opinion than what we're getting as the toys, which now it's like we're getting into that weird thing. Like when I was a kid, we had the toys, but then Filmation looked different. There were definitely differences and all that stuff. So it amuses me on that level as well, where it's like, okay, the comics are giving us something that we weren't expecting, both for toys and for the stories and stuff. But I mean, there's some weird things in it to me, though. Like one of the ones that I kept on looking at it going, did I miss something? Was so Adam breaks Jitsu out of the shackles.
Yep.
And then you see him swimming Jitsu to the beach, but between there, for some reason, Adam has no battle armor anymore. I kept looking. He drops it.
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
That's what he's complaining about. Because he had to drop his stuff because Jitsu has the hand.
Gotcha. All right.
And that's heavy enough on its own. Yeah, if you actually look behind him when they're swimming away, you've got the battle armor.
This is where having Comixology sucks, because I didn't. I like when I'm on Comixology, I'm looking and I could not see that well enough.
Yep, there's a shin guard, there's the battle armor, and that's what he's saying. He's a damn you, Gretorian. What could have been so worthwhile you would risk that heavy damned abomination being fused to your wrist? Because that's what he's complaining. He's like, I had to give up all my stuff because I could barely get me in the hand. Like, and it sets him up then on the aisle where he's the bare-chested, savage He-Man.
The savage He-Man. And
it was kind of cool.
Well, the other thing that got me was, so Adam goes into the cave.
Yep.
That is one thing I will give credit to Tim Seeley for a lot, is I think he wants to do a savage version of He-Man, because he keeps going back to this. Like, even in the multiverse one, he gave a little bit of the savage version that I love, but we didn't get the full effect or anything.
Yep.
But he went there again. It's the Cave of Power idea.
Yep.
Except now it's Grayskull as the cave and all that stuff. But they have, like, Jitsu's out there on the beach. Adam goes in there, and Jitsu still keeps talking. And I kept thinking, like, he's up there on the beach talking. And I wanted him to turn around and go, you still there? Oh, he's gone. Like, it was one of those moments that I could not help but play it up for comedy, because it just really felt weird that he's out there and he's just having this monologue to himself while he's watching this sea monster, and I'm like, okay, but that's a nitpick. That's not really saying the story's good or bad. I'm just saying it amused the heck out of me with the timing and the way it was all handled there.
I like the fact, well, number one, the Easter eggs of leading up to the Cave of Power.
Yeah,
you've got like the bust of King Grayskull and the bust of the jungle savage He-Man, like the plain bare-chested He-Man and stuff. Then there's another guy on the other side. You can't really tell. It looks like he's got a cape. Maybe it's supposed to be hero, but just kind of the idea of the champions and everything. But I like that, where it's like we stick with Jitsu. That's where he's kind of, I don't want to say pouting, but I can't think of the word I want. But like he's just kind of like complaining. Like it's Dante in Clerks. Like, I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
I wasn't supposed to be here today, yeah.
I wanted to go to Turnos. I did this. I did that. They ignored me. I stole the one apple, and now here I am. And then it all ends with the kaboom, with the power igniting in the cave. Like, because you know me, I always like my little bit of mystery. I like Boba Fett's helmet on. I like not knowing Wolverine's real name. Like the fact that Adam went in and He-Man came out, I'm good with that. Like it always takes away a little something. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Mike Young Productions, but it always takes away a little something when you actually go like ABC, this is exactly what happened, or this exactly explains it. you know.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. No, you think that you go in there, it's like, to this day, if I watch that, the beginning, the part that gets me is how the hell is he jumping to areas that Sorceress is flying to and all that. So, I mean, I get it. It's a sci-fi
Yeah.
barbarian world and all that stuff. But even watching it the first few times, I'm like, if it was me, I'd be like, I'm done. I'm going home. I don't know. My dad's just captured. I got nothing left, you know. But yeah, on this one, this was one that I wouldn't have minded seeing built out more from the concept of it.
Right. It's got so much going on. Easily could build out from here. Last shout out I'll do to it is Tila in pretty much her outfit, but Evelyn colors.
Yeah.
That was a fun little just like, and again, that would have been another hint if you're playing this out, you know, in the long game.
Yeah.
That like, you know, at first issue, you wouldn't know as much wrong. Okay, Keldor's trusted advisor, Randor, we got Adam, Man at Arms. Oh, look, they put Tila in a purple. And you're just like, okay. And then by the time you get to the end there, you're like, no, wait, Keldor's really in charge. Like Tila, you know, it's just one of those fun little things that could come back. And then our second story, Man at Arms for Hire. This one surprised me. So the reason there's no colorist is because it's all black and white. Very Sin City.
Yep. Very Sin City.
Very much. And obviously the coloring, but even I'd say the tone. I think that's what they were going for. I haven't actually read Sin City. Blah, blah, blah. I really can't talk today. But from what I know of it, like this feels very much Sin City-esque.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing, like, Frank Miller goes full blown hard boiled detective in it. This is not even remotely to that level with the writing, at least, but the vibe is all there to know that that's what the homage is. So yeah.
And what really surprised me is this is actually like a what if on Revelation. They actually took, so Man at Arms is working as a detective with Evelyn. And he says it's basically the same thing, except he was the only one that was banished from the palace. He-Man was lost in battle. Randor found out that Man at Arms never told him who Adam really was, He-Man really was, and banished him. And so now he works as a detective. I like it.
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's almost Jeremy DeWitt's Beastman and Man at Arms as roommates, but even better.
Yeah.
With him and Evelyn.
So, I like it. It's not that I don't like it. My only thing about this one, it really comes down to, how does any of this really mash up with what Zodak's purpose is in the wraparound story? Because the whole point of what Sorceress is doing is showing her reasons why Adam is a good person to have the power. And in this one, it literally focuses only on Man at Arms and Miss Powers, as he calls her. And they're on this case. And I'm reading it going like, this is a fun idea. Like, I would actually read issues of this because it is fun to, like, you want to talk about flipping the script, you turn Man at Arms into a detective with the technological know-how and the battle experience. And you just have them do these crazy, go into a bar, beat the crap out of Too Bad, and, you know, get the information from the stool pigeon, and he, you know, whatever. But it just felt like this is a great concept, but why is it in a book where she's trying to show why Zodak needs to realize this is who needs the power sword?
I will answer that.
I knew you would, but I don't know if I'll like your answer.
let's run through the story we have first.
All right.
And then I will answer that. So it starts off with Duncan in his office drinking coffee. Evelyn, he keeps calling her Miss Powers.
Miss Powers.
They're totally doing it, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's
That's
like
my boy, Duncan.
There's not there, this is not meant to be a spoiler in any way, shape, or form. There is a line in the new Ant-Man movie where they basically both. It's not that big of a spoiler. I'm telling you.
Right.
That Janet admits while she was in the quantum realm, she had needs, and Hank did the same thing. And then she's like, well, why didn't you stick with her? He's like, she wasn't you, baby. But there's that like, yeah, but you still did a little something when you were lonely, though. Yeah, got needs, you know?
Exactly. So Orko shows up looking to hire Duncan. They surprise that he is still working with Evelyn. And Orko has a problem. Orko has lost King Randor. He did a spell. King Randor disappeared. And Orko can't find him. So he created, they call it a simulacrum, which is basically a magic copy of a person. But it's not perfect copy.
Yeah.
As we see. The fake King Randor likes to meow a lot.
It makes me wonder, does he only do that at night when no one's around? Because that's when they show him is like, here's Marlena in bed, and here's Randor standing there looking out the window going, meow, and it's like, does he do it all the time, or is he resetting at night? Like, that's his only thing that he can do.
Well, I think that's all happened right now.
Okay, so
like it happened at night.
It happened literally in 5 minutes.
Orko came right over
this happening. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because that's the ticking clock. Marlena's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And Orko is trying to find Randor before she wakes up. So that's why he goes to Duncan. So that's why I took it. But we get a nice flashback kind of talking about Duncan's history. Nice young Duncan, young King Randor fighting Horde troopers. Nice Secret of the Sword reference there. And then talking about basically that scene from Revelation where he gets banished, where, they lost He-Man and Skeletor. Castle Grayskull closed up. Teela and Randor were betrayed. He had nothing, but he hooked up with Evelyn. And like I said, I think this is a cool little spin on that whole idea. Like, okay, what does he do? It's not as extreme as Revelation took it. Like, he's banished. Grayskull's dark because they don't have a champion, and what do I do now?
Yeah.
Same with Snake Man, as we find out. So, and so Orko sneaks Duncan and Evelyn in to check out the crime scene. They find an orange hair, and so of course they go to find Beastman, which takes them to a local dive bar run by Trapjaw.
Yeah, Cronus's Pub, I think it's called.
Yeah. Some great filmation nods here. We've got Blackbeard, Strong Arm, and oh my God, his name's escaping me. The other historical figure. rode the elephants.
Oh,
He's from Hall of Heroes, along with Blackbeard.
I don't remember.
I can't think of his name right now.
I was going to the
God, I
wrong
can't believe I
episode,
got
think.
stumped on this. Excuse me.
I thought the one was Coldar or whatever. Wasn't he like the
No.
new
Koldar's a hero.
So then never mind.
No, you're probably thinking of Blackbeard. He's got
Yeah.
the helmet
yeah,
and
I
stuff.
think he had the beard, but yeah, I don't remember. Because the one I'm thinking of is
Hannibal.
Hannibal. With
Yes.
the elephants, that would have been an easy one. I didn't realize that Hannibal, though.
I said elephants. Yes.
You did, but anyway.
Anyway, they're all there. Spiker's there. Too Bad's there. And Duncan comes in and busts up the place. And again, it just great scenes. Trap jaws on Beastman to pay his tab.
Yeah.
Like, you just see all these evil warriors that are just like lost because they don't have a leader.
Yeah.
And so they all just get drunk and try and forget it. Even Trapjaw, like he's got this pot belly now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's a fun little like what if of all these characters to me. Excuse me. And once they see Duncan and Evelyn, who they feel betrayed them, like it's a huge bar fight.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That's all I can say.
I would have loved to see this animated on Revelation. That would have been a fun fight.
Sorry, guys. And so the Beastman takes off in all the melee. All right. Oh.
You good?
Beastman takes off in all the melee. And Evelyn and Duncan follow him into the tar swamp. And Man-Arms realizes that the tar swamp is filled with what is it?
Portals.
I lost the name of it.
They have a crazy name for it, but it basically are dimensional gates or whatever. Or portals.
Was reminded of the Dwell of Delusions, a cursed keep where He-Man and I were trapped for days, lost in memory and hallucination. Somehow the fog that pervades that place is here. Beastman, who was abandoned by his cruel master only to be rejected by his own kind, comes here for a cheaper escape than the mead he can no longer afford. So basically a fog that like makes you high.
Yeah.
And imagine things and forget. So yeah.
This is the official entry of Jeremy DeWitt into Masters of the Universe. I love you, Jeremy. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm thinking even harder than that. I'm thinking more of the opium dens.
Yeah, well,
like, that's kind of what they're going for. Like Beastman just in a daze, a trance.
It would have been kind of cool if they showed maybe like some skeletons in the swamp, like they're just there, and it's the idea like, well, somebody didn't ever leave and they got stuck and they died here because they were just so high on this stuff all the time.
Well, Beastman would probably see skeletons because of Skeletor. That's what he, because we see from Duncan's point of view, he sees the ghosts of He-Man and Randor and Tila and himself back before everything went sideways.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that kind of thing. He does confront Beastman. Beastman doesn't know anything. And then they accidentally fall through an interspatial portal generated by overuse of teleportation gates.
Yeah.
So basically, Skeletor messed up this whole area by using his gates too often. And now just these random portals open up.
Yeah. That's what I meant earlier. Sorry, folks.
Yep. We were I knew what you were talking about.
I forgot about the fog making people high first because, so.
Yep.
But yeah, portals.
And that's when Duncan puts it all together because they fall into the throne room of the royal palace and he realizes that King Randor was never missing. That simulacrum that Orko thinks he created is actually King Randor. Just neither of them can remember because of that fog.
Damn that fog.
I did not see that coming, and I really like that little twist. Like in a short story like this, there's only so much you can do with twists, and I'm like, all right, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
on today's episode, I got high as hell. Yeah, I liked it.
Well, and then
Orca's just floating around. Whee!
it wraps up with Evelyn and Duncan talking, and he's kind of wondering if she knows a bit more about how that portal randomly opened than she's letting on.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't know anything. She just likes watching him work.
Oh yeah. So she's staring at his butt, and he's watching hers too. So.
Yep. So then we wrap up that story. And we head into our wrap up with Zodak and Sorceress for this issue. And he is convinced that given an ordered and kind universe, Prince Adam of Eternos will wield the power for good and even share it with others to combat Skeletor's evil. But the universe is not kind or ordered. It is cruel and chaotic. Friends and loved ones die. Grief destroys hearts, makes souls cold and hard. He wonders if he's misunderstood his mission. And he's going to have to experiment. And he must make Prince Adam suffer as he pulls out his pistol.
Mm-hmm.
So, very, very ambiguous. We're getting much more into that Zodak that's like, hey, Skeletor, the star seed's over there.
Mm-hmm.
Go get it. Hey, He-Man, go grab that star seed. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, cool, you passed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
This is very much that, all right, I got to be a little more proactive. Let's see what happens when I murder some dudes, apparently, is where we're going from here.
Is Zodak gonna have the choke a bitch?
I'm down for it. Like, now, to answer your question, if you recall back in the beginning, the first issue, she showed an Adam in both realities that would do the right thing, no matter the cost to him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this one, she says she's found arguments from those who encounter He-Man, those who call him friend and those who call him enemy, and more about his effect on others. Which really, if we go back to the Jitsu story, it's about him being tolerant to someone that he first viewed as an enemy and bringing him over to his side. Because at the end, they're united against Keldor. They found the real villain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the effect that not only, Jitsu was ready to give it up. He's like, I tried going to Eternos, they shunned me. But whatever happened in there, by the end there, he's like He-Man's right-hand dude. Like, let's go back, let's save your father, let's save the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So, it doesn't, again, that first story, there's so much going on there, it doesn't go that in depth to any of it. But at the end of the day, that's what the sorcerer is showing. Like, look, he brings people over to his side. He makes others better. And then in the second story, it is a world that lost its He-Man. And it ends with Duncan saying, neither of us retreats into the past for another rainy night. Like, he's using his memories. We saw him in the Tar Swamp. His memories are of He-Man and the good that they did, and that's what keeps him going. Where no matter what, like, he could easily just go to that bar, get drunk, head out to the Tar Swamp, and just sit there every night. But he's still doing what he can, when he can, for who he can. And that's because of the legacy of He-Man and how he inspired Duncan.
Mm-hmm. For me, like, again, I like the concept of this quite a lot. Like the Raymond Chandler kind of vibe about it and all that stuff. But it just, like, to show that, I don't know, it's like I guess I would have liked to see a different take than this one, because this one is so. This one reminds me of like an episode of if they did an episode of the show where all of a sudden they just went off the wall and just go, okay, Man at Arms is now a private detective, and Sorceress is going to be his girl Friday, and and just do something wacky like, oh, we have to find the power sword. There's this kid Adam. He's coming in, and it's all a dream at the end. Like Wizard of Oz or whatever.
Right.
That's more the way it felt to me.
No, I can see that.
So,
like, I completely get where you're coming from. And I'm not saying it's let's be honest. At the end of the day, they're like I'm sure they came up with these stories, and then they're like, how do we frame this together?
Yeah.
So
I keep thinking, like, Tim Seeley probably has this He-Man stories I hope to write one day notebook.
It
and
could
he just
possibly
threw it
be
down in front of his editor at Dark Horse, and he goes, this, and they're like, well, how do we figure this out? Sorcerers are talking to Zodak, let's just do this. And it's like, to be honest, out of the 4 stories that we've gotten out of this overall book, I think all 4 of them are fun in one way or another.
Agreed.
I mean, I don't need the Sunday Comics He-Man one at the end of the first issue. That worked as, okay, it's one thing and that's it. It's a once and done story in that comic. But the Grayskull Man story was great. The first story in this one, there's a ton of meat on that bone that you could go back to. And this one just as a crazy, hey, let's put Man at Arms in the spotlight and do this kind of a story with him. Right. I was like, I never would have thought of that. And I love how it's changing my perspective on how this stuff could work.
No, it's just both these stories were a lot of fun. I think these lent itself better to, like, I could see a universe like this.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 were just like, all right, that was fun. But like these were like, no, like I could really get into this.
Agreed.
So, our rating. Issue number 2.
No,
and I think
5. Was it?
Huh?
Are we out of 5 on this one?
Can I explain it to you and the viewers?
I'm just jumping to conclusions.
We had a whole talk about this. Shortly, now that we're almost 100 episodes in, we have finally devised our perfect rating system.
Right up to episode 100, we finally have a rating system.
We have a rating system that we're going to stick with. We've pulling back the curtain. We have discussed, and we've changed our rating system. We've been out of 5. I think we've done out of 10. I think we did letter grades for once, or maybe we just threw it around. Like, This is something we've been working on, and we think we finally perfected it. So you've got a rating system. You have 1 to 3 power swords. 1 power sword is good. 1 power sword, or 2 power swords is better. And 3 power swords is like perfection. So 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got a Zodak. That's the neutral, right down the middle. It was there. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It sufficed. It's just Zodak. It's just there, sitting in his chair watching. And then we got the Havoc staffs. Same thing. 1 to 3. 1 Havoc staff. Oh, that was bad. 2 Havoc staffs. Oh, that was terrible. I can't believe they did that. 3 Havoc staffs. All right, like that just killed the franchise. Why are we even bothering with this?
3 Havoc staffs is kill it with fire.
You never want 3 Havoc staffs. So, Shawn, I'll let you go first. Issue 2 of Masterverse.
I'll go with 2 power swords because I like that it showed me a different way of looking at a character in this one. And the meat on the bone left for that first story, if they go back to it, I would actually want to keep reading what else happens. And that's the mark of a good story. If it hooks you and makes you want to keep furthering the story. So yeah.
Yeah, I got to go 2 Power Swords as well. They were excellent setups, excellent execution, excellent art. I actually like the art in all 3. Like you said, the New Eternia, they took those designs and they made them a little bit more, like they refined them, which I think the toys could have taken another pass, especially that Battle Armor He-Man. But they took care of it here. The black and white Sin City style, amazing. And of course, Eddie Nunez on the framing is always awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed both stories, and I liked the cliffhanger of, Zodek about to pop someone. So, like, not only was this enjoyable cover to cover, but I'm actually like, where are they going with this?
Yeah.
Was Zodek actually meddling with some of these universes? And how is that gonna have repercussions?
I still say, I wish that this still was out before the multiverse book, because for a couple of reasons. One is just the idea of this working the way it is would have been such a better way of picking up these stories and running with them in the multiverse. That to me is like so wasted, and it bugs me. But on the other hand, too, it's like, I don't know. This is almost me wanting to apologize for Tim Seeley for how much I didn't like that other book, and that I really didn't want him touching Masters anymore after the multiverse miniseries. And now I'm enjoying his take on this stuff, and it's refreshing, surprisingly to me. And that's kind of mind blowing in this moment, because I didn't mind him in the Injustice one with Masters, but then that multiverse one just grounded to a halt for me on so many levels. Like, I hated a lot of that book, and I know there's a lot of people that loved it, but this is making me like, wow, Tim Seeley's got a pretty cool take on some of this stuff. I really wish that he was given that chance to shine before that other book got in there. So yeah.
Well, and I mean, no offense, Tim Seeley, when you listen to this, but like, one of our problems with Multiverse was, it really felt like he was cobbling along as he went along, and he even said that in an interview that he doesn't necessarily know where his stories are ending before he starts. That's the beauty of this anthology, these short stories. Like, you don't have to worry about a long plan. Like, this is it. It's 12 pages, 10 pages, whatever it is, and that's it. And I even pointed that out when we were speculating before the first issue. Like, this might work better to his writing style, where he doesn't have to think about the long plan. He just can go, all right, Sin City, Man-at-Arms, and Evelyn. And boom.
Yeah.
So...
I feel like the creativity that's on display in this is so much more interesting than that other book too. And that's, I mean, for me, it's refreshing. You have the creativity of the Sunday Comics version of He-Man, which, I'm sure there's some people out there that hated that because it's making fun of the concept. But for me, I thought it was fun. I thought it really was funny. And it's like, when you get into what they're talking about, and when it's almost like you take it from a different perspective of how that origin went in the Savage canon. Right. And yeah, it might have gone that way. And it just turned out we got the King James version, for lack of a better term. We had a sanitized version of what that really was. But really, that Jungle He-Man was kind of like, he just fell down a cliff one day, and there's Battle Cat, and and whatever else happens. And
well, and that's my key with that is, and I'm sure some people felt that it was making fun of the concept.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it was having fun with the concept.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference for me.
Yeah.
You can't just make fun of it, but you can have fun with it.
Absolutely. And I mean, so 2 issues in. Is this a 6-issue series? How many issues was it? 4? So that's all right. So basically, now, like the whole idea, now we're teetering on the other side. It's probably going to get a lot more crazy and a lot more. I mean, the next issue is more new Eternia because we have the barbarics or Savage Skeletor or whatever they're calling him. We have the new Eternia Beast Man, Viking Skeletor, and kind of Viking He-Man as well, but he doesn't look exactly like the toy version. At least not on that promo image for the cover. So, no, actually, he does look pretty close. Though I'll take that back. He does look pretty darn close.
Right, it's just the artisticness of it.
I'm not used to seeing the big muscles, and when I see the big muscles and I see the way the Masterverse line is, it's very much like Marvel Legends versus. Oh, remember the vintage versions of He-Man? Yeah, he had he was built, like it's like now everybody's athletic and Olympian looking.
So for next time, issue 3.
Mm-hmm.
Tensions rise as a sorceress of Grayskull shows Zodak heroes influenced by He-Man from across the multiverse. In an Eternia ravaged by war and left shattered, a goddess known as Tila must free the Beastman shaman from a tribe of superstitious barbarians. And when a drunken group of explorers who jokingly call themselves Masters of the Universe run ashore on the Isle of Grey Skulls, they must decide if saving a captured sorceress is as important as procuring loot. Masters of the Universe Masterverse, on sale April 12th. So it looks like they're kind of going, and that seems to be the thing, so like a serious and then a more lighthearted.
Yeah.
Even though here I think they were both kind of serious. But like Sin City was like it was still a departure.
Yeah.
More something more traditional and something really off the wall.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I'm looking forward to it. These first 2, I've enjoyed all 4 stories so far, and I like what they're doing with the wraparounds, and should be fun.
I am pleasantly surprised each issue this comes out that I'm enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying it. I was not expecting that at all. So kudos to Tim Seeley and that crazy He-Man stories I want to write one day notebook you probably brought into Dark Horse and threw down on that table, and the editor goes, well, what do you want to do? All of them. Okay.
Do it.
Do it all. Just do it.
All right, Shawn. I think that's a show. Anything you want to say to her?
There was one more comment made on the post because I forgot to turn off comments for it.
Oh, and at the buzzer. Who's our
buzzer?
And
at the buzzer. And ironically, he was already name dropped in this episode. Mr. Jeremy DeWitt made a comment. And
I got to hug him multiple times.
Isn't he great to hug?
He is.
He's like a teddy bear come to life. It's crazy. So his question is, when are both of you going to show up together at an event that all of us are at? We need a group photo, bitches.
Agreed. And I think the only possibility this year is Legion's Con.
For me, Legion's Con is, I really wish I could go to PowerCon, but I don't think financially that's a good idea right before Legion's Con at least not right now.
I won't be able to go to, I got to choose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's going to be our chance. But I agree. We do all need to be in the same room. We need a group shot. We need to wrestle for who gets to keep doing a Masters podcast and who has to give it up. So,
You realize, I mean, I'm not exactly a rail thin by any stretch of the imagination, because my son loves to call me Fat Daddy all the time at home. But if we've tried to wrestle Steve and Jeremy, you realize we're probably not making that one work in our favor, right?
We just have to be smarter.
Well, we do, but that doesn't necessarily mean physically.
The two of us are more agile. Okay, we just run around Steve until he passes out.
Jeremy will just sit it out. He's like, I'm not going to do this. I got better things to do. He'll just sit there and tinker on his guitar while you and I are dealing with Steve trying to be an alpha and him getting frustrated.
Some magical herb.
Yeah.
And he will just pass out.
And it'll be you and me will be like the planes going up against King Kong on top of the Empire State Building to fight Steve, which means he'll eventually get tired. It's 9 o'clock. I need to go to bed, and he'll just walk out.
Oh, I can
win by TKO.
I can easily stay up later than him. Done. Done.
Well, anyway, that's your answer, Jeremy. We will be.
There he is. We will be at Legion's Con. Thank you all for tuning in. Do me a favor, hit that like, share, subscribe, all that. And until next time, go read a comic.
Oh, come on. Ah, rock. Oh, bear. Oh.